So, should you play DayZ this Halloween? Well, if you're the kind of person who enjoys being chased through foggy woods by something groaning in the dark, and that's before you even run into a zombie, then yeah, absolutely. DayZ might not have your traditional jump scares, but it's got something worse. Real players. You'll hear something shuffle over your shoulder, panic, and realise it's your own footsteps. Until it isn't. The truth is, no horror game matches the sheer dread of trusting a stranger with a gun and hoping they don't accidentally test their aim on you. This Halloween, forget haunted houses, go survive DayZ.
Welcome back to another video. Today we're doing something slightly different from my usual structured reviews. If you would like to see my full detailed review of DayZ, I'll leave a link up above. We're going to dive into something a bit more atmospheric, with a Halloween twist, and prove why DayZ has so much depth beyond its survival roots. This isn't a server review per se, this is more about the experience you can get within DayZ and the variety of servers available to you. Since trying DayZ on the PS5, I've been watching a lot of content based around the game, and my mate Jigsaw, who streamed live here on YouTube, was playing a particular modded server that caught my interest. Since flicking over to October, I've been chasing that spooky, unpredictable weather kind of vibe within a game, and DayZ just fits. This particular server had this dark, moody, perfect for Halloween vibe that I was craving. So expect survival stories, eerie moments, and me panicking in the dark. So yeah, buckle up, because things are about to get spooky.
So let me paint a picture. The map I played was on Esseker, and this was my first time setting foot here. Now DayZ can feel intimidating at the best of times, and I've only just stopped getting lost every 5 minutes on Chinoras. So jumping into a new map felt a bit like turning up to a maths exam I didn't study for. There's a mix of nervous excitement and the quiet realization that I'm probably going to die before I find a backpack. Esseker immediately gives off a different kind of energy. It feels wide open. Lots of fields, big stretches of woodland, and these eerie, half-abandoned towns scattered around. There's barely any cover, so every time you move, you're basically announcing to the world, hey, free loot over here. Well, if you found any. It makes you feel exposed in the way Chinoras doesn't. Like the game makers are watching us as tributes in the annual Hunger Games. And then there's the fog. It's thick and hangs around each town like a horror movie set that forgot to call cut on the final scene. It's both helpful and completely disorienting. 1 minute it's guiding you like a small beacon in the distance, the next you realise it's masking the horror staring at you from outside the window. Speaking of which, these atmospheric Halloween touches really bring Esseker to life, or undead, or something like that. Jack-o'-lanterns dotted around, the constant night cycle, and the faint orange glow of log fire cutting through the fog. It's got atmosphere for days. Loot also felt more generous than usual, which might just be a server setup, but I wasn't complaining. Though, honestly, no amount of good loot can make you feel safe when you can't see 10 feet in front of you, and the gunfire ringing around the map. This was my first proper run on Esseker, and even after a few hours, I could see why players keep coming back. It's smaller, tighter, and has this strange balance between beautiful and terrifying. One of those maps that keeps you paranoid in the best possible way. This size of map encourages interaction with your fellow contestant. So, as I mentioned earlier, the biggest Halloween twist on this server is the lighting. It's got a constant night cycle blanketed with fog that rolls through every town on Esseker like it's got unfinished business. Once you step into a town, visibility drops right down. You're relying on the faint glow of your torch or the occasional flicker of a jack-o'-lantern to find your way. It forces you to slow down, move carefully, and accept that every shadow probably wants to kill you. There are a lot of fresh spawns on this server too, and despite the gloom, everyone seemed in surprisingly good spirits. Maybe it was a shared understanding that we were all terrified together. You'd see a guy in a clown mask waving across the fog, and here, friendly, only to immediately question every life choice that led you there as you stared down the barrel of a gun and think, oh. Now let's talk about the zombies, because these aren't your standard, slightly cranky locals. The server had gone full Halloween mode, featuring some very recognisable faces. Ghostface, Jigsaw, and my personal favourite, the clickers from The Last of Us. And I've got to say, they absolutely nailed those skins. Even the noises were spot on. The guttural, broken clicking sound that instantly makes you rethink walking through a wooded area. And yes, the lighting and sound design made everything creepier, 100%. It adds to that constant simmering tension that DayZ already does so well. I don't know if it was part of the event or map specific, but hearing the twigs snap under your feet while running through the woods generally got my heart going and making me think, was that me? Or was that someone mirroring me through the trees? You all know how much I appreciate a good soundscape, and this one delivered. There weren't many traditional jump scares, but the zombies' sound design came pretty close. Those clicking noises just hit different, especially when they're right behind you. These special zombies also have increased health, and hit way harder than the normal zombies. The audio was maybe a bit too loud at times, so loud that I actually had to drop my fader on the Go XLR just to hear my own thoughts, which, honestly, somehow made it even scarier.
I just want to ask, if you're liking this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing to help find your way back for future videos. And also, let me know in the comments if you like this style of video. Thank you!
Players also spawned in with some fun Halloween themed clothing. Think a cozy pyjama vibe, but for your worst nightmare. My personal favourite was the Cheshire Cat outfit. Nothing says spooky season like running through the woods in pyjamas while being chased by Jigsaw. It's such a nice touch. Gives everyone a bit of personality before they inevitably get eliminated or eaten alive. And speaking of other players, well, that's where things get really interesting. Now this is where DayZ really shines. It's not just the zombies, it's the other players. The unpredictability, the tension, and the who's gonna betray me first energy. And that's what keeps every session fresh. On my first run on this server, I met some genuinely awesome people. One veteran player welcomed me, giving me tips and suggestions on how to explore Esseker without immediately getting myself killed. Then came another guy who tagged along inland. And that's when things got interesting. We stumbled upon a trio camped in a building, taking pot shots at us. After a tense standoff, 2 of them down, 1 still standing, I realised this wasn't going to end quietly. The guy knew exactly how to use a sledgehammer in tight spaces. Needless to say, I didn't get him, but it was cinematic chaos at its finest. The second run, well, let's just say curiosity nearly killed the cat. Or, in my case, me. A duo lured me into a house full of their friends. Bodies everywhere, some being shared in ways that I probably didn't want to witness. And yes, I became dinner for a cannibal crew. Should I have run? Absolutely. Did I care? Not really. It was so entertaining. DayZ has this way of making even your demise feel part of the story. And speaking of Halloween, the roleplay touches really elevate the tension. The second group I met were fully committed cannibals. Costumes, creepy RP, the works. One of them mentioned spending 13 hours on a run. And yes, I had to laugh when I realised they meant 13 hours of DayZ life, not actual cardio. Moments like this are why DayZ thrives. Players get so invested that every encounter, every decision feels loaded with suspense. The fear of other players always outweighs the zombies. Even with Halloween-themed zombies that hit harder and take more hits, the real terror comes from the unknown human element. It's the unpredictability, the constant question of trust that keeps your pulses up while you sneak through the foggy fields. And with a busier server like this, gunfire, ambushes, and tense standoffs make every step a potential life or death gamble. Interactions like these, the standoffs, the betrayals, and the "oh no, I'm dinner" moments, they're what keeps each run fresh, but enough will that you can never truly relax. And that, honestly, is why the DayZ community makes every Halloween session feel so alive, chaotic, and terrifying. And all of that brings us nicely to the big picture, why I keep coming back, and why this game just works for moments like Halloween. So, would I recommend playing DayZ this Halloween? Absolutely. The game itself is incredible, and the zombie survival setting just fits this time of year. And if you can find a themed server like this one, even better. Whether you're going vanilla, or soaking up the usual chaos, or diving into a custom map and modded servers. There's just so much content to enjoy. At the end of the day, isn't that what we all want as gamers? Fun, surprises, and a few heart-stopping moments. Who's going to enjoy it the most? Honestly, anyone willing to embrace the start over, trial and error vibe DayZ demands.
So, how does DayZ compare to other survival and horror games? Well, let me toss that question back to you. Let me know your favourites or your top picks in the comments. So the real question is, will I jump back into DayZ over this spooky season? And the answer is absolutely. It's the chaos, the suspense, and the unpredictable moments that just make DayZ perfect. As mentioned at the beginning of the video, as this is not quite a full review, we're not going to give it a rating this time. However, if you'd like to see my full detailed breakdown of DayZ, I'll leave a link again up above. So as a sign off for today's video, I have to ask, do you think you could survive a night in a DayZ Halloween server? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to help find your way back for more honest reviews and game breakdowns. Catch you in the next one. Bye!